Luna, what do you do to stay grounded?
Hi, this is Camber.
Hi, this is Nakisha, and you're listening to Wise and Weird.
There's been a lot of like body connection stuff coming up, so which actually relates to today's topic as well.
The
Believe it or not.
grounding. Yeah.
Yeah, like getting down in your body, which
Yeah.
you already know that because your practices, you do that as well. So cool. Bodies.
Bodies.
Roll them.
We're just gonna call this bodies.
Yep. I'm all yep. Yeah, we are. As I roll mine. So it's an interesting time for this topic, especially just with all the uncertainty and fear and stuff going around right now. But even when you talk about like the connection to your body and grounding, it's actually pretty interesting because right now with Pisces season, we've got all of this Pisces influence going on right now, and they're very dreamy and in the clouds. They're actually a sign that really needs to try to get down more in their body and ground and center more often. So I thought it was kind of cool how that correlated as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So do you want to know?
I want to know more. Give me the deeds.
Deeds. As this is being filmed, it's a new moon tonight. So we've got the Pisces new moon tonight. So I won't go like too into detail. I did talk about it in the previous episode in more depth. But new moon in Pisces, and there's also a lot of Jupiter influence with this, which is really good because Jupiter is the planet of luck and fortune, also travel, but it's a really lucky planet. So with this, with these matching up together, I put that it's a time to dream big manifesting big goals. It's a really good time for healing. It's a really good time for imagination, letting your imagination just run wild. And it's a really magical time because of that. So tonight, the new moon, since Pisces is a water sign, I'm definitely making some moon water. And then I'm going to set my intentions with the new moon, which is an ideal time to make your goals. But with this one, you want to do like your big goals, that kind of seem out there. Because Jupiter is all about expansion as well. So you want to go not just like the itty bitty ones, but the really big goals that you've really set, a long time ago, or you think that it's going to take a long time to get there, things like that. And try to think of one small step that you can take towards getting closer to that goal. So I know that that's all happening tonight with the new moon. The energies of that typically stay around for a couple of days, about 2 to 3 days. So by the time this airs, that may not still be a thing, but it's still a good time to set intentions, especially if you're still feeling these energies. I don't think it's too late to go ahead and just do those. So yeah, dream big, manifest. It's still going to be Pisces season. So these are still going to be themes for a little while regardless. So I've got that. And then March 6th, and just big day, but both Mars and Venus enter Aquarius on March 6th. So this one really feels very feminine and it feels very masculine. So that balance there is how I'm kind of picturing it. I keep like just body rolling. But so with Mars, that's our masculine energy, our drive, our power, our life force and energy. With Venus, that is our artistic side, our sensual side, our feminine side. That would be the more gentle side, not as, aggressive, assertive. But with both of these energies entering the same sign on the same day, that's going to be a really good mix. And together, like I said in the previous episode, that's really sexy vibes, because you've got your sex drive, which is Mars, and then you've got your sensuality, which is Venus, mixing together. So, yeah, really good day, or a really good time for the arts. So if you have projects, especially when it comes to new ideas, because Aquarius is all about innovation and new ideas and uniqueness, and yeah, just something new. So if you have any projects that you're wanting to do with work, or working on art projects, it's a really good time. And if those are combined, if you do something artistic for work, then that's even better. It's a really, really ideal time to get out there and put those ideas together. So it's a really good time for teamwork, collaboration, projects, friendships, sexy time, balancing the feminine and masculine. So yeah, and a really good time for those ideas. Anything pertaining to that or those kind of projects is really good. And then later in the month, March 18th, we have full moon in Virgo. So it's kind of funny, when the moon is in Virgo, I always think of spring cleaning. I think of someone like going around cleaning their house.
Sure.
So this is a really good time so it's the time of the full moon, right? So it's kind of what it's more about. Instead of making new goals that you want to see happen, it's more what is getting in the way of these goals. So with the full moon being in Virgo, Virgo's all about the details, your daily routine, your tasks, your duties, your job, but more on like a daily type of scale. So you really want to look at your daily schedules, routines, and ask yourself where you can improve your daily routines and where you can add or improve your self-care routines. So Virgo is very much about that too. But it's the themes around this are like details, structure, planning, order, organizing. Virgos are all about being practical and useful, and being able to be of service to others. So these will be kind of the themes around that. Organized. So it's kind of about getting organized so that you can be these things, so that you can be of service to others and yourself. So there's Virgo also has a strong connection when it comes to health, just the house that they rule over and stuff like that. So with Virgo, there other themes around this will be health, your work, daily routines, and your habits. So it's actually a really good time too to evaluate like what your habits are. If you have any bad habits that you're wanting to break, what is getting in the way? What is something that you can substitute in that is a better form of this habit? Instead of, turning to food and overeating, what else can I do instead of doing that? Or if I'm going to, then let me reach for the celery stick instead, something like that. But you really want to look at like what you're habitually doing, or you're doing daily all the time, what's kind of coming naturally. It's a really good time also to ask yourself, what have I been neglecting or putting off? So if you have a doctor's appointment that you're supposed to be scheduling, which I do, a doctor's appointment you're supposed to schedule, or like a dentist's appointment, or going and getting your license plates renewed, which I need to do. And, I don't know, joining a gym, or starting your kid in daycare, something like that. If it's something that you've just been putting off and you need to do, it's a really good time to get those things done and get that out of the way, so you're no longer stumbling over these things and getting in your own way. So some of the things that I put down to maybe do is to clean. do a really good spring cleaning around your home. Set alarms. You want to try to declutter. Use a calendar. I mean, you can use a calculator as well. Use a calendar. We have a really lovely one. Tori got one for Christmas, and it's dogs pooping. It's just it's a whole calendar.
Now you have to send
month,
pictures.
Every month is a different dog pooping. So that's, you know, we've got that great little calendar up. Yeah. But that can be a tool for getting together, schedule, routine, stuff like that, somewhere that you're going to see it. Meal prepping, an exercise routine or schedule, going to bed earlier, also a really good time to try to be punctual. I say try to be punctual because that is something I'm constantly working on, and it like never, it's so bad. I have such a hard time with that, but I'm going to try to work on my punctuality during this time. I think it will be really good. So yeah, that's what's going on in the next little while.
How that Dallin's moon is in Virgo.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, it is. He's got a Pisces sun, Virgo moon. I forgot his rising. I don't know, but yeah.
Pisces and Virgo, very interesting. Yeah, he's got some differences there for sure. One's very fluid, and then the other one's very structured and orderly. So that's going to be, yeah, there's like balance there. I'm all balanced. Mine, I actually know quite a few people. I hardly ever see charts where everything is super balanced. Yours is pretty balanced.
I know you kept saying that.
Yeah. Yours is all about duality and balance. But for most people, especially like mine or like Dallin's or something, I mean, there's a lot of mine will be completely different. Like my sun sign is completely different from my moon sign, completely different from my rising, you know? So yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah.
It's just a big old mixed bag over here. But,
yeah.
So with that astrology though, I did think it was interesting with all of this like Pisces energy going on. Like I was saying, they're actually really needing grounding. So that Virgo full moon is good because that's an earth sign. That's going to be very earthy. But when it comes to the earlier dates, like happening around now, the like new moon in Pisces, and then March 6th, it's going into Aquarius, but with it still being Pisces season, that Venus will make it very like feminine and fluid type of energies. But yeah, it seems like a really good time to talk about grounding. Pisces needs that grounding. We all kind of need that grounding right now. We're all feeling these like energies, and it can help us, it can assist in us feeling, you know, off. And so when we're grounding and centered, that can help all of us right now, not just Pisces, but during Pisces season. That was not the transition that I was intending for, but it was a little bit better than some of my others. So there you go.
You're getting better.
We're like almost done with this, almost done with season 1. We're on episode 14. I still don't have it down. So maybe
I think they're epic,
might happen.
Yeah, just keep them as they are. I think when I think of Pisces and grounding, obviously Sakara and her birthday is the 6th, so that's crazy. There's so much happening. But I always think of like with her trying to be in her body, like when we were in Italy, I'll just like randomly, I know this sounds so violent and like everyone, I'm really not a violent person, but I'll just like hit her leg as hard as I can. And then she's like, oh, thank you. And we have this like thing where I do that and it like brings her back into her body, because I can kind of tell when she's like floating off. And so I'll like hit her leg and then she's like, okay. And it just cracks me up. I wouldn't go around hitting like every Pisces clearly, but Yeah.
But this one you can. Yeah, no, I
But
get
this-
it. 'Cause, like, I remember that we would be like on a trip or hanging out or whatever, and she would like want me to. She would kind of like, yeah, ask me to bring it
Yeah.
up sometimes in that way, and I'm like, I can't. I'd be like, "Eh."
Well, my
But-
Scorpio-ness comes out. I just like slug her leg. It's fine.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's
do
not,
think of
I wouldn't regularly suggest that to people for grounding technique, but if you need it in the moment.
I definitely didn't write that one down, but I should have.
Yeah.
Missed out on that one. Yeah, grounding.
Grounding. So what does
Grounding.
that mean for you? Like, what does that mean to you?
I always picture trees. Like I always picture going out and hugging a tree or being outside, like feet on the ground. I don't know necessarily how to answer that. I was looking definitions up earlier, which is kind of weird, but there was one that I haven't heard. I thought it was kind of interesting. It was in the middle of like talking about the definition, but it said the belief of balancing electrical charges in the body. I thought that was really cool. So I wrote that down because I was like, yeah, I do. I feel that. Like I do feel like it's balancing something. I don't know how to get into the whole science of it, which there is a science of it, but I definitely believe in energy and our bodies being energy and having these energetic connections, trees, the ground, the earth. I believe that it's an alive being and that we're made of the same things as the stars, the same, stardust and of the planets and the galaxies. And I don't know, I can get all out there with this. But so when I have that innate belief, right? Like when I'm going out and connecting with the earth, then that's bringing me down, that's recentering me, that's doing something magical. I did want to bring up too, this doesn't have a whole lot to do with grounding, but I thought it was really cool. Did I send it to you? It might have just been my magical morning partner, but I saw on, I think it was on TikTok, which is so weird, but this, why don't I have the exact name? I wasn't going to bring this up, just fair warning. I wasn't going to bring this up today. And so I didn't look into like exactly the name and stuff like that, but we'll have to reference this in the episode. But it is really cool. This guy looked under a microscope at ashes, like of deceased people, their ashes under a microscope, and it's beautiful. It looks like the galaxy. Have you seen?
No, I love it.
Cool. And I'm getting chills talking about it. And then there's a guy that made a TikTok video about it, and he's just talking about like this. I don't know if it was a doctor or I'll have to see, but I need to find that video. I sent it out to someone and I thought maybe I had sent it to you, but it might have just been my magical morning partner. But it looks like the stars in the galaxy, and there's different examples. It's not like just one slide, it's like different ashes. And then I saw another one recently talking about how we're actually like crystals. We're like made of like crystals and gemstones, the same kind of materials. You can find it within our bodies. Our teeth, for example, there was a dentist that I was listening in on a almost kind of like a TED Talk type of thing that she was doing. And she was talking about how our teeth are actual like crystals, if you were to look at it under the microscope or the makeup of it. And so I thought that was super interesting. So that kind of tied into us all being of the same matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is grounding to you?
Yeah, I really like that definition, and I like that they put belief in there, like it's the belief of those things. And that you brought up that the earth is like a living being, and I totally believe that. And I think too, it reminds me in 2020, there was like, I was part of a women's group all year, and we did little master classes. And one woman from that's Navajo, she was on and she was like teaching us like different stuff, and one of the things that she pointed out to me that I never thought of was like language. And she talked about how like we here in like the Western culture in America talk about the earth as if it's a thing. And indigenous cultures, they talk about it as a breathing, living being. Like the
Mhm.
language that they use is like they talk about it like it's, um, uh, alive, and we don't. And so it disconnects us in our language. So I think language in itself can be very grounding, depending on how you think, because what you say is how you think, and then in turn, that like grounds you into what your belief system is. And I believe that. I believe when it's your physical body, grounding for me is when my physical body feels balanced and I feel aware of it. I feel like I'm in my body and I feel like it's in the same frequency and vibration as my surroundings. Like I feel whole and connected to like all of the cycles, uh, life, death, earth, air, water, whatever, and I feel in my body, I feel connected and not just in my mind.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And for me, that usually means like salt bubble baths or whatever. Baths are more of my way of grounding for sure.
Mhm.
Or I'm like really, really big into, I love vegetables anyway, but like making like a root vegetable stews, eating a lot of root vegetables like beetroots or like potatoes or whatever, like, and just stewing them and like just really ritualistically like eating and feeling that food in your body for me is very grounding. And like taking in those sensations. It's like meditative eating, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, a lot has to do with water. I feel very grounded when I'm in water, which maybe doesn't necessarily fit, but I do like to put my feet in the dirt too, or in sand or on grass or whatever. And it's so funny, I never think of trees like ever. I
Oh,
love
wow.
trees. Like I don't think of trees like whenever I think of like my own rituals, like trees never come up. Unless I'm
Hmm.
with like a friend, because I have a lot of friends who hug trees, like legit hug them, and it's like then
Yeah,
I'm
me
like,
too.
oh yeah, and I've hugged them before and it really is, it's like very like satisfying, but I just never think to do it on my own. Water, on the other hand, I constantly am thinking about just like it's like a pool pulling me down into like into my body is how I feel with water. I don't know. I feel like you get so many sensations with water.
You do. I feel like the different elements help, though, just depending on what kind of energy you are. I think that we all have different energies and way it's expressed and ways that it flows through us. And even when I do like my birth chart sessions, I'm looking at like, okay, I look at the two main elements. Usually there can be just one main one, but usually there's like two that you kind of blend in between.
Mhm.
And like for me, I feel like I'm very earth fire energy, but it's so weird because I always feel such a connection to water. When I want to have grounding, I think of water a lot, like the
Mhm.
ocean. I take a bath. You and I have talked about baths before, like way
Yeah.
before. Yeah, hot tub like every night. I love water and I do find it very grounding. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting for me. I don't feel like I connect a whole lot with air element or fire element when it comes to grounding, or
Yeah.
keeping me centered. I feel like I am very fire in how I express myself, which isn't always the best thing, gets me a little in trouble. But connecting to the elements, I think, is really important. If you're drawn to them, I think, yeah, connecting to those elements probably has a lot to do with what your energy is made up of and how you're expressing those energies, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, trees, I never really used to. It used to all be just water, but lately trees have been kind of more of a thing. I've been making more of a practice of earthing which is something that I did want to talk about, I guess. Earthing is one of my main things that I do to get grounded. And so I make sure that Luna and I usually we're barefoot. I try to be barefoot or have my shoes off or whatever. And we'll go walk around in the backyard, or we have a playground or like a park actually just right across the street. So I'll try to go there or wherever we're at. If we're at the beach, I love just putting my toes in the sand and being very present during that and making sure that I'm getting those like energies. But it's always really intense doing that because I feel like I'm getting the earth energy and then the water, the ocean, which is like its own powerful energy as it is like, yeah, water energy to me is I'm very drawn to it as well.
Yeah.
So, which makes sense. I mean, you are water sign as well. So
yeah. What is a Libra? Is that air?
That's
Water
air.
and air. Yeah.
Yeah, water and air. So that's really nice. Yeah. So I always am drawn to earth, water, but like I said, I feel like I express myself more as earth, fire, which is kind of interesting because fire destroys earth. So yeah, it's about finding that balance, I guess. So that's why I need that water to tame down that fire, maybe, so my earth can live. Maybe that's what's happening there. But
yeah, I mean, earth does destroy, or fire does destroy earth, but it restores it, right? Because it's like when something burns down, it has new room for growth.
Yeah, it's like a whole transformational type of thing is how you could look at it. Or yeah. I think a lot about, when it comes to grounding though, I do think a lot about earth energy. And like I think of trees or being out in a forest and my feet just on the ground, my bare feet. What are some techniques or methods that you do besides a bath? You did mention the bath, like salt bath.
Yeah, I do. For me, it's like sensory. So, like smell, touch, taste, all of those things, like sight. I will use my senses to get grounded and get out of my head, like just be really into the senses, depending on what that is. If that's like burning incense and a candle and writing, and stuff like that is really grounding. I would say that certain types of breath work are very grounding. I wouldn't say all breath work, but there is like, like box breathing and stuff like that, which I find very grounding into my body. Massages, I'll go get massages too. And
I miss massages.
I know.
Jill's amazing. Yeah.
I know. And that helps me ground into my body more so too. So there's different types of grounding. For me is like grounding into my own body, where I need to feel like more at one with myself. And then there's grounding where I want to feel more connected, where I will just like be outside and the same. Walking barefoot on anything. It doesn't even need to be earth. Like I love walking barefoot on concrete.
And like, do you just walk on water? No,
Yeah.
You're like, I just
Not
love
yet.
walking on water.
I wish.
On concrete.
Right. I do like walking on concrete. I like the sensation on the bottom of my feet. Like just sensory stuff, I think, is what really gets me. And I like to be fully immersed in those things. So it's like if you're doing like earth stuff, like I like to go up in the mountains and be completely surrounded by it. I kind of like to feel completely just lost in it, I guess, in a way. But I'm definitely one of those extreme people. Like I like to do everything on the extreme. It's like I don't want to just put my feet in dirt at a park. Like I want to get lost in the wilderness in Alaska.
Yeah.
That's a want. But I will just go stand with my feet in the park for sure.
That's a very Scorpio thing to have those extremes too. P.S. That's funny.
Yeah, like if you just laying down on the grass and closing your eyes and like feeling the earth and then the air above you, it's like a grounding sandwich. You're just like in the middle, And you
Yeah.
can I kind of imagine myself that I'm just a rock. Like I just sit there and I think about, I'm just like a little speck of dirt on this huge ass ball flying through space. And it that makes me feel grounded. That might not sound grounding to a lot of people, but I think it's just different for everybody.
Other people, I feel like that would freak them out. But yeah, I'm like that too, though. I find comfort in stuff that other people are like, what? Like you like to think about what? And I'm like, yeah, don't you? I'm like, no, I would never. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, you're okay. I like to feel really, really small. I then that's so weird, but it's like I don't feel like being tall. I've been tall my whole life, and like I also just, and not in like a bad way, but like I love standing on top of a mountain and you're just like this tiny tiny thing. Like I love feeling small in those ways, like in perspective to like Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy. That makes me feel really connected of like, oh my gosh, your physical body is this tiny speck, but if you ground into earth, like you're also all of this, like you're all of these mountains that you're looking at and you're standing on top of. So I find that like is how I see it when I'm doing my grounding.
That's cool. I like it. Yeah.
It's
a big world out there.
It is. This is a big rock.
No, but it's really cool to think about. I think about stuff like that a lot. I remember writing a poem about how small we are. And that was one of the things though, like freaked some of the people that I read it to or whatever, it like freaked them out. And to me, I was like, oh, like I thought that was cool. I love like looking at it that way. And they're just like, we don't mean anything. I'm like, exactly. Isn't it cool? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, well.
I find so much peace in that we aren't everything. I think if like human beings were the pinnacle, I would be mortified. I would be so upset. I'd be like, this is it.
This is it. Like
this is the peak. Human beings. That's where we're stopping. Yeah.
That's where we're stopping.
I don't find any comfort in that at all.
I feel you.
This just gets all existential.
Like we're supposed to be grounding, not like going out into space.
We're just use our techniques from the front half of the podcast after you listen to us talk about existential stuff.
After you get grounded, then we can talk about the shit out here, okay?
That's why you ground, right? So that you can expand from your grounded place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we meant to do here.
We're just like, human beings mean nothing.
Yeah, basically. But so yeah, I do a lot of the same things. I used to take drives out to the mountains all the time when I was living in Utah. I used to love that.
Drugs?
Drive out to the mountains?
Drives. Oh, I thought you said used to take drugs out to the mountains all the time. And I was like, yeah.
And leave them in the ground. And I found that really helped. I used to take drugs out to the mountains.
So many questions. God. How did I never know this?
That's hilarious. You're like, what does that have to do with this episode? That's hilarious. No, drive out to the mountains.
Yeah.
And then do drugs. I'm just but getting outside was one of the big ones that I wrote down. Getting outside is a good way for me to ground, also with that earthing where I just have like my bare feet on the ground, and I tried to do that pretty often. There's actually a whole documentary that I watched on it. I have an earthing mat too. You plug it in, but it's supposed to be like the resonance of earth, because earth has an actual like vibration and energy to it. I can't remember what the vibration is at. I want to say it's like 8 something, point something, but
I don't know.
I don't remember, but I do have a grounding mat that is, supposed to resemble that for when I can't get outside or whatever. I used to actually just have it on my bed. I think I've used it with you whenever I do Reiki on clients and stuff. Well, in-person sessions, I would put it underneath the like sheet or whatever. And they would lay over it and stuff, but it's supposed to help with sleep and all kinds of things. But when you do the grounding outside, because you do have these energy centers in your hands and in your feet, then it's a really good way for your body to align. It's supposed to have all kinds of really amazing benefits, like blood pressure, cleansing your liver, and I mean, just anything you can think of, cleansing your kidneys, your digestive system, and yeah, just all kinds of stuff. It's supposed to have amazing benefits. Headaches, supposed to help with headaches, migraines, and yeah, so I try to do that as much as possible with Luna. I also do my GCP. I talked about this in a previous episode. I think the ritual one, I talk about how every day I do ground, clear, protect. This one, so I will imagine my feet on the ground. Usually I'm like at the beach or in a forest or something, but I'll imagine my feet in the ground. If I'm already outside doing this, then I just have my feet on the ground. And that's the grounding part. Then I'll clear myself with some kind of elements, either earth, wind, fire, water, something like that, and it will come through and cleanse me out. And then I do the protect and shield. So I put my shield up around me, my home, my car, whatever. And yeah, so I do my GCP every day. That helps me to get centered and grounded. And it's something that can take me several minutes to do. And then it's sometimes I'm about to walk into a building and I just really want to hurry and cleanse, and I take like 5 to 10 seconds or whatever and hurry and do that before entering the building. So I do that daily all the time. Sound healing is also a really good way to help ground, especially doing, I did want to bring up the root chakra, especially doing like root chakra work is a really good way to feel grounded. And a lot of the times with grounding, it has to do with wanting to be like needing your energy to come back down into your body. But if your root chakra is imbalanced, there's also feelings of you're not feeling like safe or protected. There's a lot of fear and unsafety around there. So it's really good to like work through your root chakra to help feel more grounded as well. And your root chakra is the one at the base of your spine. It's red. It's considered the first chakra, although there's actually hundreds of chakras throughout our body. But out of the 7 main ones that we learn about, then yeah, it's the first one at the base of your spine. So working on that really helps too. And it kind of goes like hand in hand with a lot of these techniques, but I'll like work on my root chakra. And I was going to go over some ways to do that in just a minute, but sound healing and essential oils, so smell. I'm very sensory as well. That's actually a very Taurus thing. They're all about the senses, and yeah, that's like Taurus is very much about that too. So when you said that, I was like, oh, I get it, because yeah, I'm always wanting to like smell, touch, and feel, see, hear it. Yeah, it's like an all-encompassing sensory. It's like, oh my god, just like overload. I love
Energetic
that.
orgasms.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You get it. While I'm eating something, I have to be like tasting for sure. Tasting, and then like one of those other will just top me off. Humming is a really good way if you're like in a space that you can. Humming is actually a really good way to instantly get back in your body if you're needing. That helps me.
I think I do that just like without thinking about it, for sure.
it can be like a really comforting thing. I'll
Mm.
I'll just be sitting there sometimes like and like making, I don't know, making some kind of, I make weird noises now. You said that you do too after your embodiment work. I'll just
And
make
just
like
being
weird
isolated
noises.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
And now I make all these weird noises with Luna because she's like learning about animals and stuff. So just out of nowhere, I'll be like, and like roar like a lion, or I'll be like, and like snore like a pig or whatever. And she loves it. But yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just like randomly doing this now. But yeah, so I'll find myself just like humming. But humming is a really good way to like kind of instantly get in your body if you're needing to like hurry and center yourself or ground. Also doing some kind of like visualization of imagining roots coming up out of the ground and wrapping around your feet and legs. And you can also picture this being like red roots. Red is that color of the root chakra. Each chakra has a color associated with it. So red would be for root chakra, if you're wanting to work on, feeling safer, getting out of survival mode, wanting to work on fear, having more security, working through guilt and shame as well. Those are like the lower. So the three lower chakras are body focused. Then you have your middle one, which is the heart. So that one's the like gateway to that's kind of the bridge for both of them. Then you've got your higher three. The throat, third eye, and your crown are going to be the higher. They're more like connection to source rather than down in your body.
Yeah.
So I also do rolling hips like every day. So I'm realizing I feel like I store a lot of emotion in my hip area. Actually, a lot of us do. Our joints, especially, a lot of people. I feel like when I read The Body Keeps the Score, I have it, I bought it, I haven't read it yet, but I feel like when I do, it's probably going to say something about that, because our joints, we really store a lot, but especially our hips. And so every morning I like sit and do like I roll my hips and do these like certain yoga poses. But there's a bunch of grounding yoga poses that you can look into as well if you're needing more like grounding and centering. And then this is a good one for like out in public or whatever, like if you're needing to kind of calm down and ground from that, it's a really good like anxiety technique. But you just touch your thumb to each finger and kind of just go through. I mean, you want to be doing this, it's the intention behind it, but it kind of gets you out of your head back down into your body, doing something like this, or like curling your toes, which I have to practice sometimes because I do have all kinds of fun stuff as well, like with my, anxiety or like PTSD and stuff. So sometimes I'll have to do that one, like if I'm standing in line or something like that. So yeah, those are some of the things that I do, I guess, to get grounded. My main one's earthing and water. I feel super grounded when I'm near the ocean, which I don't know if a lot of people do. I know that you do, but a lot of people are really scared of the ocean. And I do see it as very powerful. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had very scary times in the ocean, but I feel very spiritually connected when I'm like at the beach, near the ocean, in the ocean. I love it. That's my favorite.
I agree with you. Like, I'm afraid of heights and stuff, but I wouldn't be afraid at all. Like, I've had dreams about like being taken by the ocean, and it was just like peaceful. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you just get lost out in it or whatever. But
I have too. And then it like almost real life happened to me though, and that was super scary, but also
but then when it actually happened, it wasn't okay.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah, but I always would joke about like, oh yeah, just sweep me away. Remember the whole time we were in Hawaii, like we kept putting our tents like closer and closer to the water. And everyone's just like, oh my God, you're like in the water. I'm like, basically though, I kind of like, I'm secretly hoping a big wave just kind of comes and just
like takes
my
us.
tent out. Yeah. Like that was kind of the whole goal of this trip. I know it said it was for Tor's birthday, but it actually wasn't.
But actually, we're becoming one with the ocean now.
Yeah.
We're becoming mer people.
Merman.
Man. I think that it's great you brought up like the hip rolling, because when we did the Tony Robbins thing in Miami, he would have us do that. Like, he had, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. He had like a person who would come out on stage and like help him and stuff. And he would make us like do these huge hip rolls like multiple times throughout the day for that very reason. Just like you have so much energy in that part of your body and so much power, and we also store so much there, and so it's like very like calcified a lot of times, and so I've done like womb healing 21-day meditations before, specifically on like my womb, and I find that very grounding. And yeah, it's really, I just really think there is a lot of power in your hips. I think unintentionally when I was younger, I was doing a lot of these things, but I frequently think about us going dancing and how frequently we would go dancing. And I was like, it was so good for my body though. Like I dance at home, but I feel like we just like went crazy, and we would just like, we would just go balls to the wall and dance like just outrageously. And I think that was really good for my body, because it's like I don't feel like I do that as often.
Yeah.
But I wish there was places like that, like communities of dance where people would get that way, but also maybe we don't have to get like drunk and be out until 3 a.m,
Yeah. Look into ecstatic dance. Have you gone to like ecstatic dance events before?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I was
I've
like,
heard
I
of it,
thought you
but
have.
it gets like weird sometimes.
It
I don't
can.
know. It's never
It can.
like, yeah, it's like never what I want it to be in my brain. And then also it's like I want to jam out to like 2002, like hip hop. I'm not
Yeah.
down to like swing my, I love like healing music and flutes and all that jazz, but it's like, no, like where's Usher? Oh,
Ursher.
Usher. Or that song I showed you the other day, yesterday, Satisfaction.
Oh yes.
Benny
I
Benassi.
used to I used
Oh
to go so
yeah.
hard to that song, and I was recently just listening to it. That's what's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, wait, this isn't a thing still, because like it clearly is in my home. But yeah, that Benny Benassi song, that's so crazy. 20
Yeah,
years.
girl, that's the ecstatic dance I want, and it's just
Yeah.
it's not here.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've been to a couple of events like that. And the first one I loved. I really loved it. It was kind of like what I was looking for. And then after that, I think I went to like two more after that, and I did not it wasn't one that I thought it would be. So it can get kind of weird. Kind of depends on like what you're wanting. I've thought about like roller skating. There's not a whole lot. I mean, yeah, you're like moving your hips, but how
Yeah.
people are like roller skating and dancing at the same time, and then they'll
Oh
do that to old
yeah.
school jams. They have like skate night out here all the time, and it's like old school jams. You're like sitting there vibing to Aaliyah and like TLC and skating. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
my
that would be
gosh.
really cool.
Yeah. I would love that. That's, and you say that, and it's so funny because like I actually used to feel that way about running. When I was avidly running like 6 miles, like a couple times a week, like I felt like I could feel the power like in my hips and my womb. Like I could feel my power like just in my midsection in general a lot. And that's why I loved running. Like running for me was very, very grounding. But yeah, not for everyone.
No, it's not. But I mean, there's all kinds of different things that can be. Some people do hula hooping. I tried to get into hula hooping for a minute there, because I was like, that's a cool way that you're moving your body, getting all that stored energy out. Because that's what I'm needing. I need that energy getting out. And especially when I feel like I have a lot of that fire energy in me, a lot of it usually tends to come up as anger,
Mm.
which is a root chakra thing. If your root chakra is misaligned or any of those lower ones, then yeah, your anger is going to come up more. So that's I've been really trying to work on root chakra. Feeling safe has been a huge theme lately. I've been noticing. So this is another thing. This is kind of cool. This has been a huge realization for me, is not feeling safe. And this was a conversation I had at the cabin with Tor just recently, because he was like, I'm like, I just never feel safe. And he was like, is it that you never feel safe, or you never feel, he's like, you don't trust that others will keep you safe? And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I guess it's kind of both. But just with my life experiences that I've had with one of my first best friends, I don't know if I've ever even told you about this, but one of my first best friends I've ever had back in like junior high school, she had a plot to like kill me, like behind my back. Like,
yeah, you did
like
tell
not
me.
making it up. I mean, my life could like literally be a movie. This is why I want to write a book, because there's just crazy stuff. But yeah, come to find out, this girl that I thought was my best friend the entire time, she actually wasn't. And then as I get older, there's other things that happen. You know, there's other people in my life that, you know, I think they're friends, I think they're family, I think that we're, you know, and I've felt very betrayed a lot. There's been like really, really big events and things that have happened. So when it comes to trusting people, or like in my relationships and some of my friendships, like that hasn't always been, you know, so I'm not always like super trusting or feeling like I feel safe to be open and be myself and express myself. So that's been a huge thing. But yeah, so safety, which I feel like a lot of people right now, just with like current events going on and stuff, they're a lot of us are feeling unsafe again, and there's that fear. So I've been really trying to work through that. But most of the time, those things get stored down in the lower chakras. So down in the hip area, that's where our fear is going to be stored typically. And usually if there's any kind of like assault or a violence against us, if we're sexually abused, a lot of time it's going to be those lower chakras that we really need to work on to get that safety, feeling safe. And so when you're working on those chakras, it just naturally, especially the root chakra, it just naturally happens that you're doing a lot of earthing techniques as well. So that's kind of why I was bringing those things in here. But yeah, the hips store a lot of things, but there's so many things that you can do. Where you enjoyed running, someone else may not get the same benefit of like, oh, well, when I run, I'm not feeling this kind of movement, but they do hula hooping, or they go to, you know, the old school jam nights and go roller skating like me. Just kidding. That's my new goal. But yeah, or do breath work or the yoni baths, or whatever it may be. There's all kinds of different things. I did want to put down here some things that can help, like things that you can use as tools to like get you there. And there's just some like essential oils and stones that have to do with the root chakra specifically and with help grounding. So wearing the color red, or having that nearby, or wearing like a piece of jewelry or something. But this is all intentional, right? So if you're just wearing a red shirt and like not really thinking about it, then yeah. But if you like intentionally go to wear a red or a maroon shirt for the purpose of feeling grounded when you see it, then that will help. And yeah, earth energy, or connecting to the earth element. And then as far as essential oils go, cinnamon, cedarwood, frankincense, sandalwood, those are all really earthy ones, right? So those are all really good for like root chakra work, if you need to work on like fear or safety, stuff like that. And then as far as stones, there's red jasper, bloodstone, tiger's eye, carnelian, which we actually have a lot of carnelian out here, like just naturally. Tor and I go gem hunting all the time, and there's like a bunch of it out here, which is really exciting. And black tourmaline. And so I actually brought show and tell. There's my black tourmaline. And this is a really good protective one. I love this one. I actually have it under my bed too. Girl. And then
you need it.
eye. Yeah, I do. I need all the protection I can get. Tiger's eye, that's just one of the small pieces of tiger's eye. And this is jasper and carnelian and another carnelian. This is one of our carnelians that we found just out, like while we were doing gem hunting.
Yeah.
And some, I think this is an agate. I think this is red agate. I can't remember. But yeah, my little red tower, I like this one. Whenever it's like a fire, like a moon in a fire sign or whatever, I use this in my rituals. But yeah, any of the red, like darker stones, red, browns, black, those are going to be very grounding, like protecting energies. So yeah, hopefully some of those things help.
I'm just gonna
to
take
get
all
you
those stones
grounded.
and put them in my bathtub with me.
I know, huh? I know. It's pretty nice, especially with this Pisces new moon. I'm like, okay, kind of helping me get grounded and centered while I'm in the tub in my water element. That's awesome. I'm doing that.
Should.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's been an hour.
It sure has.
It sure has.
Did you
I have a
card?
deck, yeah, but I just wanted to see if you've said everything you wanted to.
I know. Yeah. I definitely
think this is a good one. I love the grounding. I've always felt like really good in my body. Like I've always felt like one with my body, I should say. Not good in my body, but like I've always felt like really attached to it, I guess. So when people talk about like being more out there or like not being able to be in their body, like I feel like I've always just been really good with that. But I've always been really athletic too. And I find that helps me a lot in using my body, and realizing its power is like very satisfying to my soul. Like this thing that we're in, this meat suit, is like pretty amazing. Like
I love when it's described that way. Meat suit.
Meat suit.
Ew.
I
do want to say,
oh, go ahead.
Something really quick. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Just about what was it? Oh, connection to body. Just really quick with human design. I know I bring that up a lot, but with human design, your sacral, so you get a lot of signals from within your body. Like your intuition is a lot about like your body. I'm splenic, so that's the same way. So that just has to do with how you like receive, messages and stuff. But yeah, ours are very like in tune with our bodies, which is really awesome, because some of them aren't. Like Taurus, for example, his is environmental. His is all
I didn't even know that was one.
Yeah, I did his human design. It said on inner authority, it said none. And I was like,
no internet. I'm all, wait, what?
Yeah, he has none. And I was like, does that mean you're a rebel? You just do whatever the hell you want? Like what? But his is kind of more like it's the like he's influenced by the environment, his environment and surroundings and stuff. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, ours is very like body connected, like getting in, listening to our intuition. Right? Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Yeah.
I feel like I'm being judgmental right now. I'm like, wait, what?
It actually was kind of cool reading it because it's so rare. Like his is actually really, really rare, but it was just interesting.
So there's like sacral, is there emotional? Am I getting that mixed up? Because I think that's Dallin.
Yeah, there's I think that might be Sakara, but yeah, it is for sure. Emotional. I don't know exactly what that one is. I would have to. I know that it
takes like time. Like she has to feel into things. Like we read a lot about it, and on this trip to Italy, where mine is like instantaneous. If I'm really like in my body, I can feel the yes or no. Where hers will take time or whatever.
Yeah, she has to like wait a cycle, like wait out the emotions or whatever. Yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, there's just different ways to receive it, I guess.
So I pulled a card while you were talking.
Oh God. It's like, shut up.
No, no, it's the ocean.
I always love this.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome
Yeah.
back.
That is such a cool picture too. Anyway, I'm just staring at it in awe.
Yeah.
The ocean. I just thought that was funny because me and you both are sitting here talking about like our love for the ocean and
Mad
getting
respect.
lost in it. Mad respect.
Mad respect.
I love that. 133, page 133. I want to get into numerology more too. Okay.
Yeah.
The unconscious, the depths, the incomprehensible. The power of the ocean is unmatched. To step into its salty waters is to step into the unknown. By its sheer volume, the ocean represents the unconscious, all that is beyond our understanding. We cannot live within the ocean. We cannot claim it, manage it, or own it. It rejects our every attempt to dominate nature. Yet amid its overwhelming power, it calls to us, inspires us, and invigorates our life on land. It dissolves the little us into the big us. When the energy of the ocean is present, there is change stirring that is beyond any change you've known before. The ego must dissolve. The saline swells work on your very cells, your fibers, your deepest underlying beliefs. Like Aphrodite, we rise from the ocean's froth, a new being. Life is change. Let the wave crash. When in your light, it's deeper than deep, big dreams, discovery. When dark, subsumed, drowned, polluted, unpredictable. And then it says, study waves, touch their surface, get in the water. No matter where you live, each drop is part of the whole. The ocean is in every tear. The ocean displays every emotion without shame. To witness its glassy moonlight surface and its unforgiving storms is to know the full spectrum of the human experience. I feel like this is so cool. I'm freaking out.
That's way cool. I know it lined up to so many things we said during the episode. That's
right?
awesome.
It's like big, you like the big dreams because we're in Pisces season and deeper than deep. I was like, is that a Pisces saying or what? Deeper than deep. And yeah, I just loved it. Every tier.
Cool.
It says get in the water. We were planning on it, girl. And it's telling us to. So
I already am. I'm there. Meet me there.
If you needed a sign, this is a slap in the face. Take a bath, bitch.
Take a bath, bitch. Oh, that's funny. Dude, I loved that.
I did too. That was a good card. That just like fit the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yay! I love it. I love when our cards fit so well.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right
Square
on.
peg, round hole. Oh. I'm so grateful for everyone who's been listening and the fact that we're coming up on our last one, not this one, but the next one will be our last for this season. And then we will be coming full swing again for season 2. But it just has been so awesome, these conversations and sharing them with everyone and all your feedback and support. So thank you guys so much for spending another hour with us this week. We can't wait for next week. So don't forget to be wise
and get weird.